Hi, welcome to Mystic Frequency. I'm Lisa, and I will be your collective tarot reader here today on January 27th, 2026. But no matter when this reading finds you, there's a message here that is trying to be displayed and uncovered and taken in. Or there may be someone even within your energy field that you are very close with or in contact with. And especially if this reading starts to not resonate for you, and your guides are trying to use you like that radio channel and just open up and reveal to them what they need to have revealed. So if you feel encouraged to share this, you are more than welcome to. And then lastly, even if you have not been across this situation in your life yet, this is a tool that can be added to your tool belt, and you'll have the necessary steps or the precautions or the knowing or the wisdom from what is revealed today. But you are more than welcome to jump into the timestamp in the description box below. If you want to go ahead and jump into the reading, I'm going to go ahead and get the next bits out of the way. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. Thank you for making it another trip around the world today. I want you to know when you are here with us in this mystical realm that you matter and you do deserve to celebrate. And leading in to my disclaimers so everybody is aware, always remember that you are in charge of your life. You have the will in your hands at all times, and depending on what is being revealed is not the only choice or the only option for you to do. So don't take this as the definitive information that is being given. Just take what resonates. And oftentimes, when something is being shown, it is for our highest good. It's either going to help us grow, help us learn, or look to see if there are people around us that can be these teachers, or even help us avoid accidents or obstacles that are not serving our purpose and they're just unnecessarily in our way. And so figuring out what that obstacle is, we're either able to move around it or actually be able to pick it up and move it out of our way if we're able to. And then lastly, always remember, when I'm doing these readings, I'm only revealing like advice that the guides are giving, and it's not professional advice per se. Now, if I do feel there is an experience that I have had before, then I am okay sharing that personal experience. That way you can kind of see how a normal, I say normal. Oftentimes I don't feel very normal, how I had to overcome those dilemmas or issues that may have came in my life. But let's dive into your affirmation for today. I am fulfilled. So your guides want you to see in what ways or areas of your life you do feel this for yourself, where your heart feels complete, where you are waking up and you are just feeling good, feeling alive, feeling as if everything is completed for you. And this can come at a great time, especially when you start to look at the ways that you were abundant with your time and your energy and the relationships you have around you. These could be friends that fulfill you. These could be family members. This could even be hobbies and passions. Even pets, I'm hearing. Pets can also make you feel fulfilled and acknowledged. Because that is important too, is when you feel acknowledged for the work that you do and put into your endeavors. But today, allow yourself to find ways to feel fulfilled. How are you fulfilled? What fulfills you? What inspires you? What makes you feel good? Your self-care, self-love oracle is: close your eyes, place a hand on your cheek, say to yourself, you are so loved. And you are. And this makes me think of my grandma coming in and saying, you are so loved. You've always been loved. And even if you grew up in a family that never said I love you or had, you know, hugs of some kind, because I did grow up in that kind of family where physical touch was just not something that we did. And it wasn't until I had married my husband and been a part of his family where they did give hugs. They did say I love yous. It was like, it was blasphemy if you did not say I love you back. And so there was like, and you start to miss out thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had this kind of comfort a long time ago. But there are different ways that people show and express their love. So look into ways, and not just your how you show love language, but think about the kind of love language that could be self-care for you. There's two different types of love, the one that you show and the one that you give yourself. So look into what would benefit you greatly. And one form of self-care or self-love is growing your mind and not letting it lose its, oh God, neuroplasticity. So constantly keeping it going and going. Investing in yourself, actually spending time and money on yourself versus, giving people gifts. You're giving gifts to yourself. So think of the opposite of what that self-love language would be and give that to yourself. But you are so loved. My hands are really cold, so I want you to pretend that they're warm, and I'm actually holding your cheeks and saying you are so loved, and I want you to feel fulfilled. All right, your guides for today, we have Puffin, partnership. Accept yourself and your colorful personality. Feel confident about being you. You are a joy bringer. Let your community nourish and protect you. Ask for help. Teamwork will give you the best results. Yes. So looking to your community, and it doesn't necessarily mean the family members that are around you. This could be people that you may go to church with or whatever religious faith you have. These are people that make you feel nourished and they want to protect you and are there to assist you because they know it takes a village to raise not just a child, but it takes a village to come in and really bring things together. This makes me think of the Amish community, how close knit they are with each other. And they do that because they believe in being there and being of assistance to someone that is in need. And you'll find that everyone hears that, oh, they don't use technology. They forbid it. But what they do is anytime they have like this big meeting or when they're trying to determine if something is going to either separate their community and make them unable to assist, because yes, internet makes things so much more easier so we can stay in contact with each other, but we started to move farther and farther away from ourselves. and and so if, and this is just an example, if Aunt Sally's barn had caught on fire and everyone lived 25 miles away from each other, it'd be really hard to go and assist Aunt Sally then. So think about your community that is really close to you, that is able to step in and help be of assistance, especially when you're going through like a really difficult time or a tough time. And just be okay and accept yourself. Feel confident about being you and yourself. And being okay for asking for help. And when you ask for help and someone is not there to help assist you, don't let that determine whether or not you were loved or that you were worthy or deserving of assistance. It just means that in that moment, that person is not able to give you the right nutrients or the resources to be able to assist you. And that's when you can either turn to your spiritual team, your spiritual guides, or look to see if maybe there is someone else that can really assist me that isn't going through certain difficult times themselves. But this can even mean your partner, whoever you are with, your partner, your lover, your significant other, whatever the case may be. But when you find that you are someone that's normally the go-getter in your relationship, the one that's constantly bringing in the joy and the positivity and the just really the moral support that balances the relationship, when you find you can't do that, allow yourself to turn to your partner so that way they can pick up what you can't pick up, especially when you find that you are sick or just going through quite a bit. You may have had a loss of some kind, those kind of things. You may have had a heated battle with a coworker, or a friend or just like those kinds of things, the partners around you. But this card also wants you to focus on the relationships that do fulfill you. If they don't fulfill you, then really look into ways in how you can either A, determine if this is something you want to keep in your life, or B, something you need to move away from. Then we have cat, independent. I haven't seen this card yet. I love cats. You are a natural healer. Your intuition is strong. You don't have to go with the crowd. Life supports you in every way. So feel confident about being yourself, accepting yourself, and you don't always have to go with the crowd. You don't always have to follow in line with what everybody is doing. And life is going to support you no matter what unique journey you have. And being a natural healer, and I believe this about my cats, and I find like whenever I'm thinking too much. I notice whenever I'm thinking too much because I probably have a look on my face, and my cat Loki will always come up and he'll either sit next to me or sit on my chest, whatever the case may be, and just be like, I need you to remember, remember me. Almost saying, you are strong. Your intuition is strong. And I think I remember seeing something about, how cats purr, and they are very quick about healing. They're able to recover in most accidents fairly quick. And it has a lot to do with the vibrations that they have whenever they're purring. And I never knew this, but so think about vibrations that you have that really help heal you. And this could be even music frequencies, subtle music that doesn't have words, violin music, piano music, all sorts of different types of things. But your guides want to see that you can be independent. Just because, oh, okay, this is coming through too. You know that saying that like if you are somebody that doesn't, especially with dogs, because they have so much energy and they have to be next to you at all times, otherwise they don't know if you're alive or not as soon as they blink their eyes. Cats, they are oftentimes seen like that. They just think that they're okay, they're independent creatures, but they do desire comfort. They do desire to be acknowledged just as much as other animals and pets that we have. And so this may be, you've been very independent in your relationships, and now there's a need to actually kind of like look to see if there's someone that can support you and give you that love and time so that way you can heal. And this one is, oh, Moose coming out again. This one came out yesterday. Wisdom. Let your head and mind reach to the stars, yet keep your feet grounded on the earth. Listen to the ancient wisdom in your soul. The ancestors speak through you. You know much. Yes, because your intuition is strong. So we have lots of wisdom here that is coming in from our highest good versions of ourselves, and even from our past, where we are learning from our mistakes and the things that did not work out well, or the things that did work out well. We're looking towards the positivity there. But allow your mind to reach for your dreams and be able to ground them in the present moment, whatever it is that you're wanting to obtain. All right, let's go ahead and look at your mushroom focus for the day, and I will show the artwork. So this is the Seven of Pentacles, and it's called the Dune Cap. Let me see if I can get some of the imagery and the prettyfulness of it. And it's in reverse. So let me go ahead and kind of like talk about what the mushroom means before I dive into the actual card itself. So this Dune Cap is also called Sand Tulip, and its name means lover of sand. So there's this time reference that is already being placed right here. There's a time for everything, and there's a time, there's a need for time management as well. And this mushroom matures from being buried in sand after a certain amount of time, and then it's usually during like a rainy spell that it will burst open, splitting open, and form a star shape. So back to reaching to the stars, and this is one of those things where it is allowing itself to be buried for the time being. And then when it knows its intuition is telling it it is time, it'll burst through the sand and it'll form this star itself. So it's like where you are the star wish fulfiller yourself. And so this card talks about being very resilient and showing that it has hidden potential and can thrive in harsh and unstable environments. And this specific mushroom talks about being a part of the wood wide web, not the food wide web, but the wood wide web, where it's the idea that important, nourishing connections exist beneath the surface, even if they are not immediately visible. And because it has these sudden emergences after rainy periods, that's when you have these breakthroughs, these surprises, and just rapid growth that comes out of nowhere. Now, the Seven of Pentacles talks about looking to see where you are investing your time, energy, and resources, and the importance to be able to see a return on those investments. And this card talks a lot about looking at what you need to prioritize. So look towards prioritization systems because these are the key here. And the other thing this talks about is knowing when a situation is no longer bringing value. And it's not just talking about situations, it can also talk about relationships that are not growing. No matter how much you put time, effort, and love into them, you can just see that it's not going to the next step. It's not growing. So think about like if you are in a friend zone almost, if I'm saying that, like you had somebody that you knew, that you were acquainted with, and so you developed a friendship. Well, then one starts to develop feelings for this other person, but it's like nothing is going anywhere. There's like nothing, there's no other action. Sometimes you have to either A, say, is this just going to be a friendship? Or B, can I actually talk about this? Is this something that this person would be interested in taking? Or this can even mean you are already in a relationship currently and you're needing to look at what it is that you both are doing and if y'all are growing the same tree, the same goal is what I'm hearing is, or are y'all working on your own goals, your own endeavors? And there's nothing wrong with being independent and having your own passions and hobbies, but think about the long term here. That's what this card is wanting you to focus on, is the long term vision and not being upset when things don't go your way, when there is limited success or rewards that come to play. So when you are planting something, if you don't spend the time to nurture and grow that yourself, you just step out and walk away from it and then just hope for the best, then when you come back, you can't get mad when it turns into I don't know, you were growing an apple tree and you discovered you planted corn instead. That kind of thing. It's like you want to make sure that you are communicating effectively and each other are seeking to understand before being understood, where you listen, wait for them to finish, and then you speak about what it is that you need. Or not eat each other. I know I was doing that, but you're talking to each other and letting these moments come through. So you may be going through this dry spell too, where you are kind of like waiting for the rain to come in, waiting for something to come through, whether it be a paycheck, it could be, I know a lot of people are filing their taxes right now. So they may be waiting for some kind of investment, some kind of return to come through. And they're hoping that, okay, did I put enough taxes back? Did I make sure I filed all the dependents on my return correctly? It's those kind of things. But but you shouldn't wait for one time of the year to receive a certain amount of money. This is something you should be actively working towards and growing with. So having a savings account so that way you do have money put back on a rainy day that you can use when the sun shines again. It's that kind of thing. The heart of the matter, we have the Five of Cups, and this is the ink stain bolette. It is very beautiful and very pretty with the blue colors, and there's like 3 slugs on here, and it's like it's coming out from something, and we have these very beautiful purple flowers. So let's talk about what this particular mushroom symbolizes. So it has this rapid, dramatic, blue-black bruising that happens just by touching it or accidentally cutting it or just even doing anything with it. But it symbolizes transformation and intense, often immediate impact of environmental change. So this Seven of Pentacles at the focus of your mind, yes, there may have been a thunderstorm that had came in and ripped everything that you had planted. So like a tornado had came through and you're like, oh my gosh, that was supposed to get me through. And so now you're feeling very beat up about this and going into impermanence and secrecy, because this talks about impermanence, the fleeting things are not permanent any longer. So the idea that something or some truth is there one moment and gone or altered the next. It's like, oh gosh, I thought that if I put this here that this would last, and then it didn't turn out to be that way. Or when you have this breakthrough, because this does talk about a breakthrough, always write down, like when you are thinking something and it's like an aha moment, go ahead and write it down quickly before it leaves your mind, especially if it's a good idea. And this name also means being covered in powder. So having this residue that is around you, and it may be really hard to breathe having this residue. And it does have an inky metaphor, which is why I wanted to kind of talk about being able to write. So the inky metaphor, being able to record or leave a mark on something. And so the Five of Cups will come in, especially with it being upright. Your heart is so focused on what went wrong, and it's needing a time limit on how much time you focus on this. So whatever did not work out with the Seven of Pentacles that you invested in, don't allow yourself to sit in that negative kind of energy. Set a time limit and then move on from it, especially when there are old wounds and bitter memories that are coming into play here. And at the end of the day, know that you did the best you could under normal circumstances. And because you have these circumstances that have come through, you now have learned from your mistakes that have happened. It's like talking about making sure you count all your eggs before they hatch, or making sure you don't carry all your eggs in the same basket when you are walking through your village, or knowing if you live within a flood zone. That was very specific. When we back in 2019, our river had flooded, and we had made the decision before that to move to an area where if it rains, the roads and ditches do get watered, but we never expected to actually be a part of a 100-century flood. So knowing the risks that are involved when you are making an investment in something, or if you're trying to create a business, make sure that you have the insurance that can help support in case the business catches on fire, a tornado comes through and rips your crops up. It's that kind of energy, knowing what you need to know from this mistake, because there are valuable lessons here that make valuable hindsight happen. And from this point on, focus on what can go right. Focus on what can go right, because your mind needs to be trained to see that, where it doesn't see regrets, where it doesn't see failures, where it doesn't see this disappointment, and they'll allow for pessimism to come in and constantly bruise you every time you try to get up. And I did write a side note that I would kind of, it's just on on the side. And I want you to, if this is for a specific individual, if you are in a relationship that is not healthy, that can be very abusive, I encourage you to look for assistance and resources to help you with this. So that way you can start the healing that needs to come in and realize you can't always do the healing by yourself. Sometimes you have to have an outside source to come in and really know that love is not abusive and love should never make you feel like a disappointment when you are with someone. So, if you are scared to move on, find the community. There is a community out there that supports those that are in difficult relationships like this. And it's not to say, and if you are one of those people that tends to think that, oh, I deserved it. I deserve to be treated like, no, you don't. You don't deserve to be treated like a punching bag. You don't deserve to be bruised. You don't deserve any kind of physical altercations that may come and arise, even if you were the first person that got heated. If you get pushed to your limits and you find that you cannot give any more to this relationship, and this person reacts in a negative way just to get what they want, that's not okay. That's not going to help you feel fulfilled. But that was for a specific individual. I encourage you to reach out and start planning steps so that way you can find a partnership where you are investing in the right people, the right areas of your life. But let me go ahead and move over because I felt very protective when I seen what this mushroom talked about. The next one we have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. And it is a wood bluet, and it is so pretty. Look at the purples and hues. So this mushroom is known to be magical because it arrives the late of autumn, and you can find it in fairy rings. And so it symbolizes these mystical portals, these hidden realms, the untamed protected spirit of the wild. And it is very cold hardy. It's the last chance delicacy appearing through the first frost of winter. And so there's this, when you think that you can't forge anymore, you can. There is still something here to forge from. You can look, so seeing the positive, seeing how the crops have died, how nothing had turned out the way you expected it to, and still seeing the positive, like saying, oh well, I still have the stakes in order to recreate again. I still have the land that I am on in order to till again. I will just plan myself a little bit more better this time and focus on priorities instead. And so this card talks about seeing the symbols of nature's generosity. Start seeing the value you have. After everyone else has left you, you stood against time and shouldn't be taken for granted for. Know what skills you have and what their worth is, so that way you can make sure that you are not being taken advantage of, that you're not being undercharged and you're not being underpaid. It's like when you go to college and you get your degree and you enter into the field and then find out that there's someone that did the exact same thing as you did, but they get paid more. It's that kind of thing, knowing what you're worth and not settling for less, not undercharging your things. So if you're like a roofer or somebody that works in construction and you spend a lot of time and investment in what it is you're doing, welding is a great field to kind of like give this example. The more you practice something, the more valuable it is. And the more you should deserve to feel fulfilled. And this card talks about when you are investing in others, know when to spend money on yourself. Courses, career development, maybe even changing your wardrobe up. If you've been making sure everyone else had nicer clothes than you did, or their lunch was paid before before yours was paid, where you paid other people's bills before you paid your own. Start investing in on yourself and your own well-being. And know that when this card comes in, it wants you to know that you are enough and you are amazing. And it's time for you to enjoy the fruits of your own labor. And so this could be somebody that spends a lot of time at the office or a lot of time working. So my nurses, my doctors, people who can't just step away, they're always on call. Managers that are on 24/7 call, especially in retail. Like, I know, even though, like, during the holidays they would close the store down, people are still on call. So if the fire sprinklers went off, they had to leave their home and go and take care of their family. So know when you are needing a break, needing a vacation, so you can actually enjoy all that overtime that you have put in, especially if this overtime is not making you feel worthy. But the other thing this card talks about is, think about how you are spending your money and whether or not you need to kind of cut back on some expenses, especially if they're like unnecessary splurge. Yes, spend on yourself, but know the balance here that needs to happen in order to not spend in the wrong areas where you have those. When I'm tired and exhausted, especially if you work 70 plus hours a week, I find that I will spend more money than if I was awake and I was fully rested. And that's why it's important to have my husband with me when we go shopping, or when you're really hungry and you go shopping and you spend stuff on the wrong things. It's that kind of thing. But so you may feel encouraged to make some financial cuts just for a short period of time, especially if you don't get paid for your vacations. So you can focus on what is important, like family and loved ones and your hobbies and passions. But this card, talking about those financial cuts, cut back and reduce dependence on material wealth. But my dears, that is your reading today. I know it was really lengthy, but I felt like, especially with this card right here, I just wanted to make sure I got that message out there, that you are in a safe environment, and if you are not, then you are looking for the right environment to grow and nurture yourself in, so you can spend more love on yourself. But I'm ending it here, guys. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how it resonates. And let me know what you do to prioritize your time and energy. Do you make T charts? Do you write number 1 through 10, the 1 being the top? Or do you try to find ways to delegate your task out? Let me know what you find is easier for you. Or maybe there's just a particular moment in the day that you were just more active and more focused. But thank you guys for being here.